Alrighty. Hi there, everyone. If you can hear a little bit of background noise, it's because the windows are open because it's too hot in my room. So I basically just had to open them so that I can have a little bit of air in here. And there's, I live above a pub at the moment, so there's people downstairs chatting away. But yeah, welcome back to another episode. I believe it's episode 3 of Natter at Noon. Today's topic will be, what's it called? Financial stability, or maybe I guess the ideal idea of financial stability, FOMO, fear of missing out, and youth, or the idea or premise of youth. So yeah, interesting topics, I hope at least. So tune in. So let's start with financial stability. I mean, what is financial stability? In the time that, all we're hearing 24/7 is cost of living this, food banks that, homeless rates this, people having to work 2-3 jobs just to afford the bare minimum. It kind of is a little bit unavoidable, I guess, at the moment. We're all sort of struggling, I guess, financially. Especially, worst hit areas are working class, lower middle class, all that sort of stuff. So what is financial stability, realistically, when you think back to the question, what actually is it? Because is it as objective, let's say, as the idea of happiness? Because what could you consider to be financially stable? What would you need to have or attain, or, are there certain things you need in order to be financially stable? It's a little bit subjective, I think, in my opinion. It's a little bit like, well, what's the idea of happiness? What makes someone happy might not make someone else happy. What makes, or what feels like a financially stable lifestyle, I guess, to one person might not feel like the same for another. Because what does it depend on? Does it depend on you having food, water, shelter, and that's it? Could one maybe consider that financial stability, or is that the bare minimum? Or is the bare minimum considered financial stability? Are the two mutually exclusive? Are they, what even is it? Or to someone else, could that be the idea of being financially stable, be the idea of having 2 4x4 SUV cars in the driveway of a large house somewhere in the countryside or something like that, where they can afford to retire early and, have a steady income, and they can go on 2-3 holidays a year to, expensive places and whatnot. So, what gives, what is financial stability, and why do we all chase after it so much, especially as young people, as students, as single mothers, as, NHS workers, as any sort of, demographic that is, right now being hard hit by the cost of living crisis. As a student right now, I definitely feel it. There are times, and this will link to the next topic, which is FOMO, where I kind of think, did I play it too safe staying in London? Am I missing out on better opportunities elsewhere around the UK? Because I know I wouldn't be able to afford to, study in another country, let's say, and be an international student, unfortunately. As much as I'd love to, it's just not a viable thing for me to do right now. But yeah, it's difficult because you kind of, and I guess this will link onto FOMO, you kind of do feel like, especially as a young person, that there's so much more you could be doing right now. You're on Instagram, and it's always you're seeing people your age or maybe even younger, they've already gone on a gajillion holidays with their friends, or they've gone to this festival and they've gone to that festival, and it seems like every single month they're in a different country, or they're partying, or they're raving, or, whatever it may be. And at the same time, they're getting firsts in their degrees, and they're, going to the gym and getting fit, and it just seems like such a great life. They've got everything so in order, but it's smoke and mirrors. It really is. It's smoke and mirrors. There are good days and bad days, and no matter how fortunate or misfortunate you are, everyone is dealt a fair amount of shit, I think, anyway. Because then it's I tell myself that to, feel a bit better when life's going a little bit pear-shaped. Let's just say that. But yeah, I don't know. Fear of missing out, it's a tricky one, because when you're young, you feel like, for a time being, you feel like there's so much time. When you're a teenager or when you're a child, you feel like, oh, there's so much time, I can't wait to grow up and have independence and have freedom. And then adulthood comes, and it's just a little bit like, wow, I kind of wish I was a kid again, to be honest. So, it's just weird because it's kind of feel like you should be using your potential more for things that, like, you know, I don't know, more of a social life or things that matter, or, you know, getting better at academics or something. You always feel like, well, I don't know, I'm saying you as in generally, as in me, you, they, them, like all of them. It's just, I don't know, I don't know, I don't quite know how to explain it, but it's just like always, I can personally say for myself, and I don't know if this resonates with anyone out there, if it does, hello, is I just feel like I'm always like a step or two behind other people, like the things that people have done and the experiences that they've got, or like the things, you know, the trips or whatever. I kind of always feel like I'm late to the game, or I'm late to the party, or, you know, late to the trends, I guess, if you want to call it that. And I do feel like, even though I've pushed myself a lot this year, and I've definitely pushed myself out my comfort zone, there's always just that little part of me that goes, you could push yourself further, you could do better. Do you know what I mean? And I guess it kind of links to being maybe like a perfectionist or something like that. It's a blessing and a curse, I guess. Like, everything, it means that, you know, you're dedicated and you're disciplined to an extent, I guess. But at the same time, it kind of also means that you don't get anything done because it's never perfect in your eyes. So yeah. And this is what I'm trying to say, like, the whole idea of youth and, like, you know, how much time do we have? And because there's always, like, you know, on the one side, it's like YOLO, you know, this is the best time of your life. You only get to be young once. Have fun while you can. Do this. Blah, blah, blah. But then there's also, like, the other side where it's like, yes, have fun, but also don't be too stupid, and make sure that you're building up enough of a foundation for you to build on later on in life and invest in yourself so that you can, you know, get somewhere, I guess. And also pace yourself, because take one day at a time. The world won't end tomorrow, you know, touch wood. So yeah, it's a tricky one. It's like two polar opposites there. I'm not sure. I kind of shift in between both of them, you know, depending on what sort of mindset I'm in and what kind of day it is. Yeah. There's also just like the issue of like job hunting. I guess is this even more of a discussion, or is this just me like kind of going over like how my last like 3 months have been? Because when I tell you, job hunting in itself is a job, and we should be getting paid for the amount of hours that we spend job searching and going on interviews and going on trial shifts to only never hear back from them or be rejected for like a stupid ass reason. Because it's like, it's so horrendous out there in the job industry. No one can find a job. And I was speaking to someone today, actually, ironically, I actually do have a job now. I just started like, I think a week or so ago. And as I was speaking to someone, like a member of the general public, she was saying, oh, no one wants to hire me because I'm like, I don't know exactly the reason she gave. She was like middle-aged or something, or I'm not sure. I think maybe she had a disability or something like that, which 100% agree. But I said, you know, I'm in the same boat, except I'm not middle-aged. I don't consider myself like old or anything like that, but no one wants to hire a student either. So it just seems like there's like an endless list of impossible criteria. Do you know what I mean? Unless you have no social life, no hobbies, no interests or passions of your own, and you are willing to sell your soul and dedicate yourself to a system that really does not live or care if you die for minimum wage, then we'll hire you. But if you don't, and you actually want to have a life and, you know, whatnot, then we won't hire you, because even though we've set out an advert for part-time work temporarily, you're just not looking for the same kind of commitment. And I mean, I wish I was making all of that up, but that's literally some of the excuses that me and several other people have gotten, I'll be honest. So yeah, it's a weird one. I don't quite know. Life is a little bit weird at the moment, you know, with the whole like school, home, work, friends, family, whatever. 2024 is certainly the first 5.5 or odd months of 2024 have certainly been interesting. But I'm keeping my hopes high that, you know, it's got good stuff in store. I've got a lot of plans for the summer, so hopefully I can execute at least one of them. And I've got a new single coming out at the end of this month as well. So tune in for that, because that will be very, very exciting for me. I made it in this bedroom, partially. No, I partially also made it in my bedroom at home. And then I was like finishing up the editing touches, the last touches, and mastering it here. And then I'm going to go into the studio at some point, maybe this week or next week, to just put through the vocals and then put the final master through. Yeah, so it should be ready. And then like the design cover thing. I can't speak today. It's been a long day. I literally just finished work at like 9:30 from my like second job, I guess, that I've had for like 3 years now. So yeah, okay, well, thanks for listening, if anyone's actually listening to this. I promise that hopefully next episode, I was going to say next week's episode, but I cannot commit to a schedule to save my life. Next something's episode will maybe be a little bit more structured, a little bit more scripted. This one was kind of just like sort of, I guess, waffle, word vomit. So yeah, if it resonated with you at all, leave a comment down below. I'd love to get a discussion going down there. I seem to be better at texting or typing than I am talking, and astounding at alliteration apparently. All that Horrid Henry that I watched growing up. Anyway, yeah, I'll stop rambling now. See you. Have a good night.